Hello. We have got prolific author, fighter pilot, Thunderbird pilot, 5/6. Children's book writer. I'm just going off of what's back there. Action figure, exchange pilot, and all around good dude. Mace.
Oh, perfect. Nailed it.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming on, Mace.
Thanks for being here. We missed you.
I have seen there have been some requests to come back.
Some more than others, yes. There's been some stronger requests than others. Yes,
some oddly strong requests.
Yes, oddly specific requests. But how you been?
Good, busy, exciting time for me with the book, and living that post Air Force life.
You know your book is upside down back there, right?
I've heard this as well. Yes.
Well, tell us 1 week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
Europe is 1 week from right now, right? Do they get it early?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Well, I'll leave that to someone that's smarter on logistics than me.
Yeah. Well,
you
what's it about?
You want the book spiel right out the
gate.
Give
me the elevator pitch. Give me
before viewership drops off.
It's only going to climb from here. It's only going to climb. You got it. Go. Send it.
Yes. 3-year project for me. Started working on this like 10 months after I left active duty, August of 2022. And here we are a week from tomorrow. Publishes September 9th. Called The Flipside: How to Invert Your Perspective and Turn Fear into Your Superpower.
I need this. So like how are we gonna do this? I just read it and now I have no more fear.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's the whole pitch. No, it's not written for other pilots, actually.
Well, some of us may need it.
That's right. He uses complex words, apparently.
Yeah. The vocabulary is well above your head, cranium.
God. Okay.
No, but each chapter is a story. Most of them from the cockpit, like bird strike, call sign, near head-on collision with a fellow Thunderbird solo, dropping a bomb in Afghanistan that missed its target. That was a good day. Like all sorts of stuff that were kind of pivotal in my career. Oh shit moments, a lot of them. But either like what the Air Force taught us to deal with those types of situations, or what the situation itself taught me. And then there's a ton of research in human psychology that translates kind of the mental tools to stuff that anyone can use. So it's not just for people who hit a vulture in an F-16, right? It's for like every day.
Oddly specific. Days. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Small pool of readers.
I mean, I have,
niche.
But
it's a niche.
Very niche.
So the psychology part, I mean, obviously Douglas likes that because that's what he does sometimes. Did you have to do a whole bunch of research? Was it just from personal experience? Like, how does that all play into it?
So I talk about my personal experience, but I'm well aware that I'm not an expert when it comes to neuroscience or psychology. So I have a friend who's a neuroscientist, interviewed her for the book, got some really good stuff, and then a lot of research to independent studies. So there's a lot of stuff cited from different reliable sources that are smarter than I am on those things.
That's awesome. Gonky, will there be an audiobook?
Yeah, dang it.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly.
I knew that was coming.
Those of us who can't read really well, I mean.
Yep.
For pilots who can't read good.
Yep. Audiobook recorded by me in a studio. Really? Did that over the summer. 'Twas a hard 3 days to read your own book out loud in a sound booth for 6 hours a day.
Did you just like stay right on? I've gotten some audiobooks where you actually get extra, like when the author reads it.
No bonuses on this one.
Okay.
I don't think. Maybe I thank the listeners at the end. That's about it.
Okay.
By the end of 3 days, like I was just like, did we do it?
Is this over? And then there's the book we got to do. Oh, God. Okay. All right, cool. Well, we're excited for you. And this is going to be #1 bestseller. That's our plan.
Cool. I'm just trying to make the New York Times any number bestseller.
You should. That's kind of, but you've got all kind of appearances. We had to schedule this appearance. This is your first appearance, right? We're going to say that.
I mean, we can don't tell CBS mornings because they have a media embargo for me on other television, but I don't think this is the same.
We're not the news or nothing.
I think we'll get
Right.
sued over this.
We don't feel like they're our competition.
Yeah,
If CBS Mornings cancels me because of this segment, I'm coming back to
you wouldn't
guys.
be the first.
We'll take it down.
You wouldn't be the.
You wouldn't be
We're
the
used
first.
to it. We know where the button is. Don't worry.
Yeah,
You wouldn't be the first, or the
Yeah.
probably the last.
that's
Well,
funny.
awesome, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
It's gonna be wild. Next week's gonna be wild. I have a whole
Yeah.
week of media in New York City. It's weird.
New
Surreal.
York City, and then we're doing the project, you and I, on this Mover
Oh,
movie
yes.
stuff. Mhm,
Yes, this week. When's
mhm.
that gonna release?
Depends on when we get out of jail.
Great.
Yeah, it just depends. Could be Friday. Could be 6 months from Friday. I don't know. It's never, can never tell. Anyway, well, cool. Well, good. I'm happy, Doug. I'm glad you're feeling well enough to join us.
I hope so. Thanks.
Gonky, how you been, man?
Good, really busy. Yeah, man, just doing the dad thing as best I can, getting ready to go. Now we got family up in Ohio, so getting ready to do an Ohio trip. I guess summer's winding down, right? Yeah, coming into fall, which is like I'm already thinking about Christmas, and I don't know, man. I'm just trying to stay on top of it, with little kids, 6-year-old and 2-year-old. The Halloween and the holidays are real important, so we always not try to mess that up for them. So
Mace, do you do the pumpkin spice season? Is the time upon
Yes,
us?
I
Is
was
that a
very
thing?
excited about that, but it's still 105 here in Vegas, so it's not. Yeah,
No.
it's weird.
you get it
well,
iced. You just
I
get
get
it
it
iced.
iced, of course. You can't drink it any other way. Gonky, do you do Elf on the Shelf?
No, I don't.
Thank God.
I hear it's just like some of our friends do, and I don't think like my son quite gets it yet. He might this year. This might be the year now that we're talking about it. Yeah. Do you? I mean, are you?
No, and I made a video last year that I was jokingly saying the best decision I've ever made as a step parent was to never introduce Elf on the Shelf. Like that's way too big of a commitment for me personally.
I've heard. Like I said, we have friends that do it, and it's like the bane of their existence. So yeah,
don't forget, right? It's like a full-time job for like a month.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, we've already got some comments from people, just in case you were wondering. There you go. Proof that your comments will not be hidden. More importantly, Alec made a video with an unboxing. Dude, how cool was that? Go to his channel.
Yeah, Alex Aviation Adventures is channel, man. He made a whole video about it was titled Thanks Mover, but it had a whole bunch of the stuff that he got for his birthday, which is cool.
Yeah, cool kid. He needs help with his call sign. He says he's got one called Scoop. Alec, you got to do something. You got to earn that call sign.
Yeah.
You got to give it some time.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
It will happen.
It'll happen. And then speaking of call signs, TR Matson, author, guy from just a random audience member.
Yeah.
Says, hey, everyone, enjoy a great show tonight. Mover and Gonky, post this up because I'm not super chatting. If you don't buy Mace's new book, you're a commie.
Accurate.
Perfect.
You can't. Well, you don't want. Honestly, we can't say that because we want the commies to buy the book too.
Right.
We don't.
They have upside down dreams too.
The commies. That was my target audience.
That's
off
perfect.
the rails we go.
Perfect. We've already gotten poor Mace canceled from her book. She's like sitting there going, "Why did I agree to this? Oh, these two idiots are going to get my book dreams. My dreams will be upside down." Wicked Spider Black says, "Hi, Mace and guys, another Monday guest."
Perfect.
What does that mean? Oh, another month.
Yeah.
Like meh, another Monday guest.
Yeah. Islamic Stick says, so R2D2 sat in the back. Does that make him a wizzo? No, because he was useful.
Hey, I don't think he could eject too either, right? He's like bolted to the airplane. He's attached to the flight or the spaceship, whatever it is.
I don't know. Renee says, welcome back, Mace. We missed you. Luna's hiding. Actually,
We have a
No.
theory.
She's right there.
Oh,
The
So
tear in the fabric of the universe.
yeah,
wish.
we've divided by 0. Mason and Luna in the same space. Well, that kills that theory.
Mhm.
yeah, she seems pretty chill about it.
Yeah, she's accepted it. Thomas says new book for Gonky Wombat on a shelf. Welcome,
A
Mace.
kid's book. A kid's book wombat on a shelf.
Coloring book. You should do that, dude. Oh, and hey, happy Labor Day for those of you that labor.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is Labor Day weekend, isn't it?
Mhm.
The official end of summer, right? At least here in
That's when football
I
season
hope
starts
so.
in a week.
America.
Yeah. Avgigo says we need to make air shows like Mace again, or have DCS have a Mace pilot figure. There you go. When's
Do I
the
get paid
video
for that?
game? Yeah, you can have the Mace video game.
Name and likeness license.
Like I'm seeing this whole like Spaceballs thing, merchandising. Like we can do, Mace the T-shirt, Mace the hat, yeah, Mace the bobblehead. Like we can do everything. You need a jet. Do you have a little jet? I'm sure you do.
No.
You don't have a jet?
We'll revisit this later. Let me think.
Yeah. Okay. You stick around with us. Somebody will make you one and send it to you.
Right.
true.
That's how cool our people are.
That's true. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Trying to
Just
get
watch
serious
the
here.
comments.
Yeah, because I don't really. This is sad stuff. So I covered this on my channel, as I talked about, and many know, Slab with the Polish Viper demo team, unfortunately had a fatal mishap on Thursday, and it's been a rough weekend for that. The air show was canceled, and people are wondering what happened. I've got a video that I think I wanted you guys to look at. It obviously there's no answers right now. We're not going to try to play investigators. We'll talk about questions that they might ask, and I'm glad you two are here because Gonky, you were a demo pilot, and obviously Mace, you were Thunderbird for 3 years. So we'll watch the video. We'll talk about some questions that investigators might ask, and just some questions in general, that I think are relevant to what's going on. So let's see here. Add to the stage. Move that over there. So it looks like he's doing like a square loop, but it's entirely in burner. I would stop it right there. That's plenty. So a lot of questions have come up as far as how does something like that happen. Mace, you obviously were on the team, and in 2003, I think, at Mountain Home, something very similar happened with a much better outcome, where in that case it was an altimeter setting. Talk about that. Like what are you thinking as a demo pilot when you're doing, nose low maneuvers like that and altitudes and stuff?
Yeah, so I know that some procedures changed on our end after that mishap with the altimeter setting and just like confirmatory comm and safety observers. Whenever we would do over the top, if anyone's ever heard our radio calls, we would be like 5's on top, 40180 or whatever it was. And we needed at least 3,000 feet AGL and 180 knots minimum airspeed to pull through. And so we had a safety observer on the ground listening to the radio, as well as like the other solo, and just like the kind of the whole team knew everyone's on tops. So you would call an abort and just roll upright and not pull through if we didn't have that. We'd burp. It helps a lot to have 6 of us, right? Like we have 6 pilots backing each other up. If something weird happens where we're outside of our habit patterns, someone would usually be like, hey, double check your seats hot, double check your altimeters, blah, 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 blah. If you step to a spare or something like that and you're behind and you're rushed to join the show and taking off late. Slab's in a little bit different situation where he's the sole pilot. They do have a safety observer, much like us. And I know that they had a lot of the same standard operating procedures. But even being on the team 2019 through 2021 and the mountain home mishap being way back in 2003, we talked about it all the time. Like every training season, new solo comes in. We're talking about, playing that turnout on the bottom and like what you should be seeing at different points. And we would talk about that mishap. Like it became a big teaching point for us.
You mentioned having people back you up and just the different, ways that things can go wrong, especially like if you're rushed, right, or distracted. And one of the things, I've talked to some Polish friends in the community, and they bring up at the time, if you look at the comms, Tower was struggling. They were talking to an FA-50, and Slab was kind of going back and forth. He's at my altitude. What altitude? And the Tower kept confusing who was who, and altitude restrictions, stay below this altitude. And he's like, well, he just passed me at 1,000 feet. What's going on?
Yep.
Stuff like that. Do you think that plays into, we always talk about distractions in, military combat aviation, all facets of aviation, but does that play into a demo? Like if you fail to, you're distracted by something and you don't do your fence end check, and next thing you know, your altimeter's wrong or something like that.
Absolutely. You especially for a demo pilot, because you do the same thing all the time. So your habit patterns become like very set, which is good 99% of the time. But when something derails that right in the middle of it, it can be very easy to miss something. Like that whole distraction is based on what I know about it. It sounds like it's happening right at the time that he was preparing to enter the airspace. And I've held outside of a TFR over an air show many times while another performer was practicing. And there's like very specific things that have to happen at certain times. And it's super distracting when this whole long conversation happens on the radio and throws off your pacing. And you only have a limited amount of time and you only have a limited amount of gas. And there's always pressure to like keep things moving. And I know in Poland, their transition altitude is a lot lower than ours, right? Like 18,000 feet. We go to 2,992 and now we're at flight levels. In Poland, it's 6,500.
Oh, okay.
On the way up. And then I think 8K on the way down. Either way, he would have been holding, I think he said like flight level 100, so 10. Yeah. So he's holding at a flight level. So he would have had the altimeter set for that, which is different from the 0K altimeter for the show. So he did have to change altimeters during that transition.
So it could have just been like, hey, let's just get this show going. Okay. Yeah. Gonky, you were a solo demo pilot. Is that pretty similar to your experience as well?
Well, I was on the demo team, but I never did any over the top. So I do aileron rolls, barrel rolls, and warbird stuff. I never did any over the top stuff. But you guys were talking about some things that are kind of new to me. So Mace, you've done more shows than I have, but like normally when you're doing your thing, it's your airspace, right? No one else is allowed in that airspace. That was my experience. Like you said, I'd wait.
Yep.
And then when it was my cue to come in, I'd come in this way, whatever, Corsair this way, we do our thing. And while we were doing that, like there could be some comm chatter going on, but like that airspace was ours. So I never really had to worry. Is that your experience? Is that Mover? Is that how they operate in Poland with this practice?
Well, they had an FA-50 that was in his airspace, and that was, and the controller kept getting the two confused. He kept giving instructions to Slab, thinking he was talking to the FA-50 or vice versa. Like he was getting call signs mixed up.
So Mace, for you, I never had this happen, but like if somebody got unauthorized, came into your airspace while you guys were doing the show, you guys would knock it off, right?
Yeah. So if the show is commenced and we're in the middle of a practice or a show, and stranger traffic enters the TFR, the temporary flight restriction, so 5 miles from the center point in all directions, like Air Boss is going to call it, the tower is going to call it, we're going to terminate or knock it off, we'll hold high to deconflict from them till they clear, which would usually only happen for like medevacs that had to come through during the middle of an air show. Like that would happen occasionally. I thought it was unclear from the article I saw whether slab was either like above the top of the airspace that this other aircraft might be part of the show, and like they were doing their practice runs and he's waiting above or outside of the TFR to enter for his time. And it's during that swap when they're leaving and he's entering when I think all this confusion happens. Or that aircraft could have just been taking off from the air show field and like they're holding slab high or outside of it while he takes off and transits before they let like, hey, the airspace is yours, you're good to do your practice. And there's just a bunch of confusion during that handoff.
Yeah.
Mace, one of the other lessons learned from the Thunderbirds, and I know this is really close to home, the loss of Cajun. Cajun was doing the bomb burst and the push-pull. We talk about that as fighter pilots. I've talked about that watching other demos. From a physiological perspective, when you push negative G and then swap to positive G, your body it takes a minute to adjust, which can lead to either almost loss of consciousness or actual G lock. And some people have talked about the questions that will be asked of when he does that initial pull, could he have gotten into like an A-lock situation and that whole time he's inverted, he doesn't know, he's off muscle memory because he's not fully G locked or whatever. When I watched the Thunderbird documentary, they talked about that, about that whole over the top. Those numbers are so important. When you're pointing at the ground, I mean, what do you think? Like, what's the abort? What's the out? I mean, if you get into a situation like that, how did they overcome that?
You've kind of missed your chance at that point, right? Like that's why we call the on tops, where, you know, as your nose starts to commit back low, if you realized as you read that number out, there's enough time there where someone could be like, recognize it, call the abort. You could roll wings level and you haven't pulled through yet. I think once you transition lower than really like 60 degrees nose low, and now you're transiting vertical, like you don't have an out anymore other than to pull through.
Yeah. Wow. And you guys didn't do afterburner, like nose low maneuvers like that? I mean, I know his demo did.
Yeah.
And our colleagues in Poland said that it was part of his demo. It was an approved demo. This wasn't something he was out there just making up on his own. This was, you know, they approved this demo, and you can see it worked fine. I think Farnborough or one of the other air shows where he got Riyadh, something where he did real well with. But you guys did not, right? Is that because of just altitude? Like, what was just not worth the risk?
We never really even discussed potentially doing that in burner. And I think a couple reasons. Fuel was always a factor for us, like running low on gas by the end of the show. We were always trying to conserve gas, especially as solos. I do think having in the team's history had a G-lock pointed at the ground and also had the very close call in Mountain Home. I mean, it was a mishap, right? But close call for a fatality. I just think that wasn't a risk that the team as a whole and Big Air Force would really take on to add that extra smash towards the ground. Like being in full AB, obviously you can do it, but if you're off your parameters at all, it's very easy to be very fast, and the risk of G-lock is way higher.
Yeah. And Gonky, you and I have talked about this. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. They're like, why would you ever be pointed at the ground in afterburner? I mean, yes, it does add danger, but if you do it right, if you're on the AOA and airspeed parameters, the jet it's actually going to max perform.
I mean, if you're at 600 knots and you're trying to not hit the ground, don't be in burner. But, you know, I don't know what airspeed he was at, and Mace, you could help me out, but I think he was probably 300-ish, somewhere around 300-ish knots. And I don't know the F-16 like you guys do, but I know in the Hornet, you know, your safe escape is burner, max G, max alpha, as long as you're not well past your corner numbers there. So, it's nothing. I mean, when I saw the video, the fact that he was in burner didn't surprise me. And I mean, when he was scooping it out there, trying to scoop it out, I would have expected him to be in burner, wings level like he was. I mean, either of you. I mean, one of the friends of mine
from another demo said they watched it and looked at it and they said it looks like he's repositioning to the show center. Like it's he's off the line and he's repositioning because you can see he's kind of in the oblique at one point. Is that something I've never done demos, right? I don't know anything about show centers and lines and stuff like that. Is that something you do where you're like, oh, look, we're off the line. Let's use this next maneuver to get us back on. And does that add additional risk?
I would say it wasn't uncommon in the pull to, like, as you come over the top and you're looking back to catch the runway and realize that you might be slightly off and to adjust during that. But it was never like a massive adjustment, right? It was, I was pretty small. If you're like if you're like 30 degrees off or something, you're probably just going to like pause for a second and you skip the next maneuver, reset.
Yeah. Gonky, do you have any, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was. I mean, whenever you're really talking about any kind of whether you're doing just a simple flyby or an aerial demonstration, it's always, you're always trying to get it to the right perspective to the show. So like Mace said, there's small corrections. Imagine we're talking about when he was inverted there for a while, right? Before he did the nose low maneuver. Any kind of extended reposition like that, I would consider kind of odd. Especially for a solo, but I don't know.
So the last thing I saw a lot of where people were asking, I think the temperature swing was pretty substantial. Like it was nice and cool. And for Europe, they said 30 degrees C, which I think we did the math was 86 Fahrenheit, which is here would be a nice summer. I'd love that.
So great.
Yeah, sounds amazing. But you and I talked about this offline about, is there a density altitude factor to what you're doing, or is it the performance so great that it takes a lot to the point where, even a 30-degree swing is not a big deal?
Yeah, we practiced in Vegas in the summer when it was 115 air temperature out, and we're flying, the couple thousand feet of field elevation with no issues. When it was the highest DA in Vegas, we would hit our cutoff was 6,000 feet density altitude. We would add an extra 500 to our minimum on top before we pulled through.
Gotcha.
But most of the year we weren't getting that here. So like I said, like we would be over 100 degrees. And I know the field elevation at this show was less than 1,000 feet. 90 degrees Fahrenheit is really not that hot in a block 52, even with conformal tanks.
Yeah.
The DA is not going to be a fact. Like that jet has so much power.
Well, and so that was going to be my next question is you flew the conformal jet. You flew these jets.
Yeah. I flew a slab as his IP. Yeah.
Holy God. Okay. So, and I'm sorry. I know this is very personal. The jet performance, clean versus a conformal tank. How much does the conformal actually change how the jet performs?
It was a noticeable difference in a brake turn or in a turn circle entry. So either, idle, pulling back on the stick, or full AB, pulling back on the stick, max deflection, you would get energy bleed a little bit quicker. But I would say it was noticeable, but not a big deal. I don't know really how to quantify it. It is a thing, but it's not so much of a thing that I think it changes that much, especially because he's used to flying with those all the time. And we would fly the D model, the 2-seat F-16 in our demo, sometimes with a centerline tank. And yes, that changed things, but it was very easy to adjust for it.
Was he always flying in the conformal? Like, is there standard demo the conformal, or does it change back and forth?
So I don't know though, because I know they had clean jets and jets with conformal tanks, and it was kind of like just whatever was in your line when you went to step.
Well, and that was the other thing. They were about to unveil this new paint scheme just for this show. That was the big surprise. And, they obviously didn't get to do that, but we'll leave the link in the description. I did that in my last channel. There's a donation for his family. He had a wife and 2 children that he left behind as well. Yeah. So very, very sad. Gonky, you have anything else? I was going to get to the...
No, it's just sad. Air shows are, I think, such an important part of just the future of aviation in general. I mean, Mace, you did it, as a Thunderbird, inspiring, the next generation. And, all around the world, there's demo teams and stuff. And it's just sad that it is dangerous. And, unfortunately, I mean, Jeff Coos, the last Blue Angel has killed, similar, doing a over the top maneuver and didn't make it. So, it's serious business. It's great. It's great for recruiting in the future of aviation, but I mean, it's just sad that, things like this happen.
Yeah. And I would say too, you talk about the Hornet and Mace, we as Viper pilots know the F-16 is a great airplane and it is a hot rod, but it'll give you what it'll give you. Once you get to the limiter, that is the limiter. So people ask, well, I need to pull harder. What was happening? It's like it gives you 50, it gives you 9 Gs to 15, and then it's a graduated scale AOA limiter to 25.5. I mean, it's unless those numbers are wrong, it's been a while, but I think he was on the limiter the whole way around. Like I think he was conscious and trying to fly the airplane all the way. And if you look at how it impacted, I mean, it's a game of inches, and it's very unfortunate that, we lost a good fighter pilot in that. But from the audience, let's see if we got anything relevant to this, and then we'll get back to the other ones. George says,
can I chime in real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I flew a slab when he was in his early flug ride. So he's becoming a flight lead. I'm his instructor flying in Poland. I'm his IP for all his BFM, his dogfighting flights. Super strong swimmer. That was kind of my first exposure to flying with the Polish Air Force, not really knowing what to expect. And he had gone through pilot training here in the States. He had done an exchange to USAFA. The guy was very much above average. And he had been doing the demo for 3 years, right? So it's or 2 years, 2023, I think was his first season. So it's just one of those things that's this stuff can happen to anyone.
Yeah. There by the grace of God go I. I mean, literally any given Sunday, any of this stuff can happen. But George says, reminded me of the 2015 Shoreham Hawker Hunter crash, the loop too low. Sad as Mover said, it looked like Slab was on the pull up till the end. And they had a trainer that we covered maybe last year. It wasn't too long ago. Same thing, demo practice. Hit the ground. I mean, nose low maneuvers close to the ground are the most dangerous you can do. It's tough. Tobias says, how long does it take for the pilot to go from my fear I might need to eject to actually ejecting? Would the thrust from the ejection seat be enough with that speed he had towards the ground if you decide to punch out the last second?
It worked in 2003. It was enough, and it's very similar. But I think I wonder what his flight path marker was showing. I wonder what he was seeing, that made him think that this was a recoverable situation. I don't know that we're going to know that, but yeah.
Anyway, Rigaroo says, go Air Force and Thunderbirds. Do you still say that, Mace? Are you still go Air Force? Or are you still an ambassador of recruiting? Now that you're on the other side?
I think I'm inherently an ambassador of recruiting. I don't kick off my keynote or end my keynote with go Air Force. But
where'd you go to school?
I was ROTC in Minnesota at St. Thomas.
So you go Minnesota? Go is there a team that you know?
No, I pretend to care, but I don't.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Always S4 Aviator says, always love listening to Mason, how she works things through. Can you explain what happens if you have a mechanical with the jet during the demo, safety of flight related or otherwise? Does the show continue a jet short?
Yeah, depends, of course, as the answer always is. Depends how serious of an issue it is. What would happen, say, if I'm a solo, I'm repositioning for a maneuver, I have some warning light or something come on, and the diamond's in the middle of a maneuver, say like they're doing a loop in front of the audience at that point, I will start to respond in my aircraft with the things I need to do. And then once they're like in a safe area where they're not, inverted or pointed straight at the ground, I would say 5 needs to terminate. And the boss would acknowledge. And then as soon as he can, for anyone that's seen the documentary, you know that the boss is just like talking on the radio nonstop with like every little thing that's happening. So as soon as he can, he'll say, Thunderbirds terminate. Everyone acknowledges. And then he'd be like, 5, what you got? And so the show essentially stops. We kind of just circle the wagons. We troubleshoot the things. If someone needs to run a checklist, we have number 7, who's at show center on the radio with us. He's got his checklist ready. If it's like some fault or something that we can clear, and it's like the checklist says it's not something we need to land for, then we'll go back to flying the demo. But if it's something serious, you might be landing from a straight in or whatever. And then as soon as the jet that has the issues on the ground safely, the rest will pick back up with a 5-ship show. One of the most stressful times in the demo is when someone aborts airborne and suddenly you transition from a normal high show with 6 jets to all of a sudden only having 5. Like the maneuver lineup changes and you end up doing a bunch of maneuvers. Some are only in the 5-ship show, so you're not as proficient at them. And there's like a moment of pure like flipping checklists and what do I have next? And I have to do the 4-point today. I haven't done that in forever. Like, and then you get pretty good at it, but it's always like, here we go.
It's like when 3 all of a sudden picks up the lead.
Yes.
You're like,
Deputy mission commander, and you're like, I paid attention to nothing of this brief. What are we even doing out here?
Yeah, 1's dead. 3, you got it. Bye.
Like, I want to go with you. Pneumatic Elephant says, Mace, you are a national treasure. Thank you for everything. Got Mover, Gonky, Doug, thank you for covering such a difficult topic so well. Yeah. National treasure.
Nicolas Cage.
No one has ever. Yeah, somebody's gonna steal you. The Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, the Declaration of Independence.
Steal the mace. Thomas says, Mover, Gonky, Mace. My entire family's from Poland. Nickel on the grass. Thanks for what all 3 of you do. Yeah, it's terrible. Thanks, Kevin. Dan says, looks like we have to add Mace to the author to buy list. We could have like a Gonky's reading club. Gonky's Book of the Month club.
Yeah, it's a small club. Short readings. Lots of pictures.
Lots of irony.
JD wants to know, let me know when the Mace lunchbox is on sale.
Perfect.
I was just reading some of it.
I don't have other comments. Are you skipping ahead?
Someone's asking where Wombat is.
Probably at home.
Laura B playing Twitch says, I'm also a national treasure, so thank you, Laura. Not Gonky, however.
No, I'm expendable. It's cool. It's fine.
Mace, can you tell us about any funny Thunderbird happenings? Also, things that happen that are not in the book, please. Wow.
Man. There's a lot in the book. Try writing 250 pages, 70,000 words. You're just like, what else has happened in my life?
If only I knew another author. All that stuff's made up, though.
I don't think there's any other fighter pilot authors. I've never heard of
10% true. Yeah, that's not a thing. Except T.R. Matt's an author. Go buy his books.
Right.
That's funny.
Gonky, when's your book coming out?
He's
on like chapter 4.
It's been in the works for a while.
I tried to tell him.
I need to do like the voice to text thing. Yeah, I'm not.
You're gonna end up having Grok write it. AI, Chat GPT.
Yeah. First, who is Gonky? Whatever that answer is, write a book about that person.
Oh. All right. So the answer is go read the book.
Yeah, I have all the funny stories. Like I talk about everything from very scary things that happen to like bathroom mishaps.
Oh.
That might ruin the illusion.
Perfect.
This is not as sexy as it seems.
Don't ruin it for me. Dan says, little man got his books this weekend, Gonky. Speaking of books, there you go. We're both watching the show from his baby room. Great books. Hope many more to come. We read one this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, Dan. Awesome.
Cirkson says, hi, everyone. Welcome back, Mace. And Tomcats. Is that Turkey A? Is that TRY? Dude, he's still not back. I really think they put him in a prison for watching us. So Mace, we had a guy every day for the show. He'd be like, I'm calling in, you know, it's 3 a.m. here. We love your show. And then one day he just stopped. And now we're worried about him. Yeah. Gonky insulted his country.
We're on a string of maybe
murking people.
It's
dangerous to be on
stick
their
around,
show.
Mace. I mean, you'll be okay. But
this is not related to what we were talking about before the show started, but I had a stalker in the past who suddenly disappeared, like just stopped messaging me 30 times a day. He was in prison for stalking someone else and showing up at their location physically.
How many stalkers would you say you have?
Like no, probably like 3, 4 over the years.
The rookie numbers. You got to bump those up.
It's different than like people who are super fans that are very just supportive and enthusiastic. These are people that are like clearly a little deranged and don't.
Do
like,
they not
show
know
up at your house?
You're married?
No, they do. They don't care.
Does that not affect anything? They're just home wreckers.
I mean, I think they're so delusional that nothing matters.
Yeah. Anyway, Subi says, "What's up, fellas? I look forward to your show every Monday. Hi, Mace. Cool to see you on the show. I watch the Thunderbirds fly every year at the air show in
Huntington Beach. I'm going to go to that one this year. I'll see you there.
You should come to the Keesler one.
I did fly that one of my very first shows in 2019.
Really?
Stayed at Margaritaville.
Y'all landed like Gulfport? Is that what the deal is? You can't you can't go to Keesler, or else you go off into the water.
Yes,
water there. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely floated the lazy river at Margaritaville. That's what I remember from that show.
Didn't make the documentary.
They kind of run together in your head.
Yeah. Did you have a handler? Like your own assigned person to handle you? Not in like a sexual way, but like, you know.
We had our public affairs shop was kind of like our handlers if we had a media thing. Right, they'd like pre-brief you with notes and be like this whatever. So but no, not like
you didn't have like your own
assigned
personal...
to me.
Mover wasn't if you had a flight doc assigned to you.
A Blue Angel flight doc.
It's like this is a loaded question. Have you seen the Thunderbirds flight doc from the time I was on the team?
No, and the one in the documentary is also disappointing, but go on.
Yeah, angry. He was there at the end. Tums, who was there.
Sorry if you're watching.
Sorry if you're watching, but just not my thing. I'm sorry.
They know what you're saying if they've seen the Blue Angels documentary, and they're not
correct.
Offended.
There's all in IMAX too.
It is all in IMAX.
All in IMAX.
I'm not going to go down this path too much further. She's a very nice person. Our flight doc was a dude that was like 6'5" with like red hair.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nope.
Oh boy. Admiral General Aladdin confirmed Tomcat Ace Guns only says, "Sorry for my recent absence. Been busy moving into a new palace. Mace, so beautiful. Would you like to be my second wife? Bring me F-16 manual as dowry."
Only the manual. I don't even have to bring the jet.
Yeah, you can just Google that.
Oh, that's great.
Van Landry says, "Non-pilot here. What is nickel on the grass meaning?" Sorry if it's already asked. So that was the nickel on the grass to save a fighter pilot's ass. It's old Vietnam tradition. I'm probably before that.
Maybe
but
before that.
Yeah, it's the whole paying the toll. And it's just a sign of respect, essentially, for fallen heroes. Mm-hmm. Holly Movie Star says, "Gonky's a children's pop-up book. Gonky, a children's pop-up book would work perfect."
Yes, it would.
Thomas says, "Gonky is a national enigma. What does Gonky mean?" Ooh. Oh boy. You're gonna have to take more than $5. I'll tell you that. That'll be our last show. Anyway, back to the news at hand, because we know Mace loves this to talk about the news and events. Right?
Yep.
This is, she's looking at her watch. It's not good.
No, sorry, it wasn't time. I thought it was on Do Not Disturb.
She's like, oh, how much longer we got to do this?
That was perfect timing.
Yeah, that was, Thunderbird, I would expect no less.
Let me put this on Do
Not unless you're doing a flyover of any kind of race, in which case I expect you to either be 10 seconds early or 10 seconds late and no in between.
Oh, dude.
Not 2019 through 2021. Shaq every single time.
Nailed it.
I was watching the documentary and they're like, "Yeah, we were 10 seconds early." I'm like, "We just covered y'all. You were 10 seconds late." Like, what? Oh, they were late. And this time they're early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious what happened.
how is this not? And then if you guys watched LSU versus Clemson Saturday night, they were so late that the band tried to, and the band tried to like drag it out. They're like, like they just kept going, trying to help them. I think they missed the stadium and looped back around to try it again.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there's no flyover for this, and I don't like football, like I said, so I went back to whatever I was doing, and then my husband's like, oh, they just did it.
Oh, that's too bad.
Since you left Mace, it's
no, this was the Bayou Militia out of New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So we're not hired there either now, Gonky. Anyway, hey, speaking of mishaps, this one's kind of interesting, and it's made the news because everybody's glommed onto this whole conference hotel thing. Put you guys over here. And so here's the synopsis. In January of 2025, this is the fastest I have seen them put out an AIB since I've been doing this. Usually it takes years to get to this point. So kudos to these dudes and dudettes that got this where they are, but they were operating out of Eielson. He ejected safely, sustained minor non-life-threatening injuries, and it's like spinal. Like he really was messed up. So hope he's recovered by now, or at least getting on the path, because that sounded painful. But they valued it at $196 million, which I'm kind of curious where they got that number. But he was flying as the number 3 aircraft on a flight of 4 after takeoff. He got the nose landing gear, didn't retract properly, and he got a caution. And Fat Amy's real smart about that because it tells you, hey, you're about to overspeed. It doesn't just tell you you're oversped. Yeah. It tells you, hey, you're on the way to overspeeding, which I thought was pretty cool. Failed to fully retract, and it turns out that it was canted when they extended it 17 degrees to the left. It took them 50 minutes to troubleshoot, and that 50-minute time is he goes to high key. His wingman looks him over. They go through the checklist. They do the 2 touch and go landings. So that's all incompetence. It's not that they were just waiting, but basically they looked at it. They said, we can't do any kind of arrested landing because it's canted off to the left. And they ran the checklist. They did some resets. It didn't work. They get Lockheed Martin via conference hotel, which is a thing. Every community has this. And they're like, okay, well, why don't we do a touch and go? Because if it'll go weight on wheels, maybe it'll swing it back and center it, because we don't want it going off-roading. They do the first touch and go, and it kind of moves, but then they look at it with the EO from the wingman, and they're like, nope, it's still off. They're like, well, let's try it one more time. Well, unfortunately, the second time, when the landing gears compressed, they stayed compressed as if it was on the ground, and the weight on wheel switch said, you know what, you're done flying for today. You're on the ground. And he wasn't done flying because he did a go around, a touch and go. And so the airplane quit flying like an airplane, pitched up. He turned it away from populated areas and decided to give it back to the taxpayer. So he successfully ejected. In the investigation, they found that the hydraulic fluid was contaminated, and 30% of it was actually water, which is why it froze, because it had been outside 40 minutes before they even took off and froze. And the way they found that was pretty interesting, because 2 weeks later, the same thing happened. And the pilot just landed because he didn't know the nose wheel was canted off to the side, and it straightened like it should have. And so they didn't lose the airplane. So they put it on the jack stands. They swung the gear a bunch of times, and they said, oh yeah, that's what's happening. Once they drained it, they realized it was mostly water as well. So they found the contaminated source, and the AIB president kind of came after him a little bit and said, hey, if you'd have just landed the first time, you could have saved the airplane. But honestly, I think given the circumstances and the knowledge they had, the only thing was they went down the rabbit hole of the nose landing gear and ignored the health reporting codes that said that the weight on wheel switch may have been a problem. Other than that, but they reported it to the Lockheed engineers. Lockheed engineers said, we never heard this. We don't know what you're talking about. And so there might have been some miscommunication, which happens in something like this, Swiss cheese model, all that stuff, but resulted in the loss of an airplane, but no loss of life, which I think is a win. Panel, your thoughts?
That was a wild video when that first came out. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right, Mace. That's a wild video. And to clarify what Mover was saying is right. Mover went into the flight controls, went into ground mode, basically.
Yeah, it said today is
So-
not my day anymore. So it stopped flying like an airplane. And, you know,
Right.
I guess what happens probably is flight control surfaces fix and stop responding when it thinks it's on the ground, or it puts it into a ground mode.
Yeah, in the Hornet, it would, you know, because in flight, if you push the stick to the left, probably like the F-16, you may or may not get an aileron to move, right? But on the ground, you test your aileron. So I know in the Hornet, like ground, we never called it ground mode, but like it was on the ground, your stick movements would cause the flight controls to move as you would expect on a conventional airplane, which is probably something similar to what happened to him when the airplane thought it was on the ground, but it is flying. So the appropriate flight control movements weren't happening. So I guess I got, I don't know, as a Navy guy thinking about that, the 2 touch and go pieces, you know, Mover and I talked off or before the show about this. It's always like the answer in any Hornet emergency is like, just take a trap. Just take a trap. Like, why don't you just put the gear down and take a trap? And I understand that they were concerned about, well, if they tried to take a trap, maybe the nose gear would touch and they'd lose control of the airplane. But they did do 2 touch and goes as it was, where the nose gear never touched the ground. So, you know, why not have the hook down and try to snag the wire? Do they have a cable there? I don't know. I assume they do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Really?
yeah. Yeah.
I assume they do. And you know, I was talking with an old buddy of mine, and you know, he was talking about just how the procedures are written. They don't really, you know, arrested landings are a consideration in the F-35A, but more for like brake type failures, not necessarily direction control. And I don't know if it was like that in the F-16, but I just know as a Hornet guy, I mean, we had a canopy come open in flight, and it was like, well, can't find anything in the book. You better take a trap, you know? So
when I got struck by lightning,
they
they wanted me to take
Correct.
an arrested landing. And I'm like, why? And they're like,
Because-
well, as soon as Chile clears the landing area, you go take your trap. I'm like, no, I'm just going to hold and land normally, but you should take a
Yeah.
trap. Like,
the idea is like, no matter what directional control problem you have, no matter what brake problem you have, like if you're on the verge of passing out, if the wire grabs, you are stopping. That's the mentality. I'm not saying it's the right mentality, but given the fact that this F-35 did 2 touch and goes, you know, it's like, man, why not put I don't call it a velocity vector, but it has a flight path marker or whatever that, you know, they could put it right before the wire. And I know they aero brake. I've seen them do it. Right. So hindsight is 2020, but you know, being a Navy guy, I wonder what are would that procedure have read the same in the F-35C, the Navy variant, as the A, given the difference in the culture that I just talked about? But yeah, like you said, Mace, that was a wild video just to see. It looked like somebody just picked it up and just dropped it. It's
Yeah.
like, see you later. So good news, the guy made it out.
Yep.
He's alive. You know, I mean, they're still cranking F-35s off the assembly line, but wild. Yeah.
Mace, I mean, in the Viper, because it's been a while, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the gear indication. It was an option though. Like there were certain
Yeah.
trees of the checklist that took you to approach end cable.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened in the Shaw mishap. Was he tried to, because he hit the main landing gear on one of the ILS antenna, not the ILS, the approach lighting, and they're like, okay, take an arrested landing, and that's when it didn't work, and he tried to eject, and unfortunately that didn't work. But you sat SOFL, obviously, in your career. Did you ever have to do a conference hotel?
I don't think so. No, I mean, obviously we were all briefed up on the procedures for it, but I don't remember ever having done it. I think there was one time when I was in the SPADs in Texas where we had one happen. I cannot remember what it was for. I know I wasn't soft. Everyone just kind of like goes to the desk and is like listening, like what is happening. But I cannot remember for the life of me what it was for, but it ended up working out fine.
I think pretty much every military jet, it's not uncommon. Like the fact they call Lockheed is not like it.
Yeah,
No,
that's not
it's
weird.
not a big deal.
No, people just, they hear 50 minutes on hold with customer support and they're like, oh, you know, whatever. But honestly, Mace, I think people don't get how much, and I'm sure you talk about this in your books, as fighter pilots, we're not an army of one. When stuff goes bad, you have your wingman. In the report, it talks about, he calls the SOF, and the SOF first thing, he goes, okay, I'm on page, E- whatever. Let's walk through it together. Like, you're a crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely was immediately talking to someone that entire time. Then he was in the pattern.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. $200 million, Gonky.
Well, there's a lot of airplane there, man. I mean, she's kind of, so
Pudgy.
Thank you.
Are you a Fat Amy fan, Mace, or like what looks better, the Fat
Are
Amy
you
or the
superficial
F-16?
like I am?
Are you
looks
super
better?
Yeah.
F-16.
Yes,
of course.
Yes, hands
I
down.
mean, which one do I want to be in for situational awareness? But F-16 for sure looks better.
See, Gonky and I never have situational awareness, no matter how many toys
regardless,
you give us. So it doesn't matter. We might as well go superficial because we have no idea what's happening.
Mover cleans the wing off at the commit anyways, so like it doesn't matter. Like anything forward to the 3.9 is getting an AMRAM.
You give me more buttons to push, I'm going to push them.
I'm
like the elf in the elevator, dude. I will hit every button.
Christmas tree.
That's right.
So it's best if I don't have these problems. All right. Gonky, anything else on that one?
No.
Okay, good. Back to the audience. 169. I don't know why. That was nice. One more question from S4 Aviator. One more question. He says, do you remember flying the New York Air Show over Orange County Airport, launched from Stewart, ANGB? Any unique challenges flying that show?
I think that was the one where the show line was essentially a river, if I remember correctly, which was real weird. And I had some real weird videos from it because like the show line is usually a runway, or if it's in a field, they will paint like a giant white stripe on the ground, or they'll put like white hay bales out there or Connex containers or something. This one was trees, field, and then like a river that was winding. So for a good portion of it, you're like flipping inverted over like 50-foot tall trees and a river. And it was just, it's kind of strange to look at all those things while you're upside down at 150 feet above the ground.
Thus, the flip side.
Yeah. Look at the flip side.
Look at the flip side. The Tic Tacs got my back. Said, greetings, Mace, Gonky, and Mover. Thomas, your mind has not evolved enough to know the origin of Gonky.
No, we've got comments picking on comments now.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's perfect, dude.
Perfect.
That's how we buy our own jets.
Yeah.
Nate says, what could I do if I want to be a pilot, but it seems like the odds are stacked against me? Well, forget those odds and go do it.
Yeah, join the
Make
club.
them tell you no.
Yeah, most people you'll find out had some sort of odds stacked. I mean, the odds are stacked against everyone because it's like such a small percentage of people that want it that go get it. But those people also were not pilots at one point, just dreaming of it.
Yep. Yeah, just do it.
Or just do it. Mike Tyson. Rhino IA says, Mace Mover, you get to go back in time. What's one thing you could fix, change about the Viper? Gonky, same with the Super Hornet. Alpha and a radar.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. I was just thinking about trying to go to the bathroom. Like, could we make that easier somehow?
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, yeah. Anyways, no, the Super Hornet for me, it needs more speed.
Yeah, 1.6, right?
No, not. I mean,
Gonky, never mind. Don't get us. We don't need another email.
Yeah,
just stop right. Never mind.
What I meant to say was not 1.6. Let's call it 2.5 would be cool.
Yeah. Wicked Spider Black says, does Mace do DCS at all for the after party?
Nope.
No.
See, now wait a minute. Why don't you pick on Mace? You just roll in on Gonky every chance you get. His wife would divorce him.
She is our guest, Gonky. Be nice. Be civil here.
I catch a lot of crap, Mace, for not.
I mean, would you divorce your husband, Mace, if he started playing DCS?
No, because he plays Call of Duty already with our 12-year-old.
Thank you. See?
I chose poorly on the reattack. All right, continue.
Then I can watch whatever I want on Netflix while they yell at each other in the other room, and we're all happy.
Perfect.
You and Rip could be straight up dogfighting right now.
Yeah. Maverick and Rooster.
I've heard it's like the real thing. I don't know why I haven't tried it.
Yeah. Hey,
See?
honestly, the visuals, Mace, you dig the visuals. It's cool.
I did try to do what's the other. I don't even know the names of the games. What's not DCS? Sky Combat.
Simulations, Mace.
War Thunder? Is that one?
Probably.
I posted a video of trying to play one at one of my friend's house. Her boyfriend was like, "We've been waiting for you to get here. You have to do
like
this."
Ace Combat?
I think it was Ace Combat, and I was so bad at it. I was like, "Why does the jet accelerate so fast?
Well, first of all, it's
Why
in
is it so
metric.
twitchy?
Yeah.
Like, this is not." The whole time I'm like, where's my radar? And I'm like,
You sound like us, Mace.
Clean.
That's
TAC Air 42. Well, TAC Air, if you'd have just hired us,
awesome. Dude.
probably not the same TAC Air. Hey, Aaron says, late tuning in. Great to see you back, Mace.
yeah,
Okay. Another one. So, this one's controversial. Let me make sure I get the right one. Nope. Yeah, that one. So the MiG-23 crash final report is out. And I would say that there's no love lost between the front and back seaters after this event. Basically, they came out and said that during the air show in Michigan, August 13th, 2023, there was a front seat pilot command, and the gentleman was an A6 pilot and 777 captain and very experienced, 40,000 hours. And the rear seat observer was not checked out in the aircraft, but was working towards it. He had 2 hours in the front seat, and most of his time was in the back seat. The front seater only had about 40 something hours. So, I mean, not a whole bunch of time in the airplane, but they were flying for a display. They were doing a banana pass. And at some point, engine power wasn't what he thought. And he said, okay, I'm going to, he tried to cycle it, wouldn't go into afterburner. And then he said his corrective measures he thought would restore engine power. He pointed towards a field. He's like, I'm going to point toward this field and try to set her down while I troubleshoot this. They went back and forth. And the backseater said, it's time to get out. And the backseater, he replied to the backseater, no. And the backseater did it anyway and punched him out while he was in the middle of troubleshooting. He had hit some switches on the exhaust nozzle, which he claimed would have fixed it and did fix it. And the NTSB came back and said that they didn't have an independent engine shop to verify any of this stuff, but it was activated at 350 feet AGL below 200 knots, according to the PRO. So they don't have the data on when this actually happened, and 1.7 miles from the runway. When they looked at it, they also could not validate the opinion of the reason for the power loss. They talk about a test pilot that had flown with him, very experienced in the MiG-23 and other aircraft, and they had this incident back in 2018, resulting in the replacement of a fuel control unit that at the time they believed was the problem. He later came back, he being the front seater, and said, no, I think they're both the same issue, which was the nozzle. And the first time the engine power came back, and this time he thought it would have as well. But he didn't get that opportunity. Backseater punched him out, and the NTSB looked at it and said, well, according to the manual and the 300-foot AGL ejection, this would be appropriate for ejection at the maximum rate of descent at 70 feet per minute. But they were actually, it wasn't known, but it was probably higher than that. But video evidence showed that the ejection seat parachutes did not fully deploy until the occupants had descended to above treetop levels. Timing of the ejection was not premature. Given the serious injuries of the occupants, any delay may have resulted in serious injury or death. And NTSB basically kind of punted on this as far as probable cause. They just said reported engine power, loss of power while maneuvering for reasons that could not be determined. If you go into it, I did a whole 45-minute video on this. I'm not going to rehash it, but they both made statements, and they're both not happy with each other. the front seater was very accusatory and angry with the front seater, especially with the aftermath, including a YouTube video that he made, which we covered on this channel, and a recorded conversation that he handed to the NTSB after that. And the backseater told his story and basically said, look, I know I was new to the aircraft, but I had to get out. You know, if I didn't get out, we were going to die. And it was the last possible opportunity. I knew my training. I did what I was trained to do. I got out. So, yeah, that's the highlights. Gonky, what do you guys think?
Yeah, it's tough. You know, it's funny. Like when I read the pilot's opinion, I'm like, oh yeah, man. And then when I read the backseaters stuff, it's like, hey, you know, you did the right thing. I mean, dude, the only way to really know how it would have played out is if you could rewind the clock and just see what happens if we can't do that. You know, I've said it before, but when I was a RAG IP, I always told students eject early, eject often, because I mean, two guys were killed in my squadron because they were literally a quarter of a second late pulling the handle. So I don't know. Looking at it, I would rather they have punched out a little early than a little late. That's how I see it. And the airplane, you know, it may have been recoverable. I've never flown a MiG-23. I don't know a lot about it. You know, the technical stuff. I understand fuel controls and stuff like that, but you know, they were low to the ground. They were low on energy. The airplane may have recovered and they may have landed just fine. I do know, just from being a fighter pilot and having studied crashes in two-seat airplanes, that a lot of times the pilot becomes fixated and their perception of exactly where they're at in the timeline of life or death isn't always accurate. I mean, one of my last skippers, he was a Tomcat guy, and he was in a flat spin in a Tomcat, and he told me, he said, if it wasn't for the Rio ejecting us, like I was convinced I could recover the airplane. You know, the two guys killed in my squadron, I'm sure 11, you know, it was Beefcake, the Wizzo, that pulled the handle, right? So I do think that you know, as a pilot, and I've been there as a pilot too, where I become fixated on a certain task, that, you know, that can be an issue. It's hard to take sides because, you know, it's kind of, you said it best, Mover, two things can be right at the same time, right? So yeah, the airplane may have been recoverable, but, you know, hey, they both survived, and there's no arguing that they definitely ejected at you know, approaching the limitation of the seats. I would argue that, just based on when the chutes popped, and unless, you know, like, hey,
well, one of the things he did argue was if he had known,
right,
because he said there was no bailout. He didn't get any heads up other than we should eject. No, that was the front seater's statement. So he basically said, if I had known, I could have rolled the wings level, traded some, you know,
yes,
and that could have happened anywhere in that timeline. I mean, they assumed he wasn't going to do that with the calculations. Mace, what's your take on all this?
I think the worst case outcome of ejecting when they did versus the worst case outcome of being like, you're saying there's a chance that this engine's going to come back, obviously is way worse, right? Like, if I wasn't, not to compare a Viper because it's just so different, but if I'm in an ejection seat aircraft and I'm on that decision tree, man, our controlled ejection altitude was 2,000 feet AGL, and they're at like 300 and some feet, 200 knots. They're very close to not having any airspeed to exchange. Like, maybe you could roll wings level, but you're not zooming from that perspective. Like, you got to be close to the buffet, I would imagine. And knowing that they landed in the water and broke bones, like, had they not landed in the water, I think even the ejecting when they did could have had fatalities could have been the result. I'm just trying to put myself in that situation. And even being the safety observer, the PRO, as an experienced jet person, an experienced warbird jet person, right? He wasn't just like a FAM rider, right? It's not like a reporter on a ride. They're just like, only pull that handle if I tell you to. So I think you can, like, the NTSB report, I think agrees that the ejection was timed appropriately, if not a little bit late. I think it said that in there. I don't know if you read the statements from the pilots that were associated with the report.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That,
Oh, yeah.
like, I think you can disagree and be like, oh, maybe I could have got it back if I had more time. But you lose a jet. You're both alive at the end of the day. I don't love the like vindictiveness after the fact, being like, I'm going to trash you when you potentially saved my life. Like, even if the engine could have come back. Yes, you lost an airplane, but what, like, at the end of the day, that's not that big a deal compared to the alternative. That's just the mentality I have around it.
Yeah. And I don't think I understand, he talks about why he went on the YouTube thing. I don't agree with that part. I think an active investigation's going on. I think there's no reason to go on a channel of ours, anybody's, whoever. I think because he was worried about, other channels that had come out and just completely trashed him.
Yep.
And I get that, but I think, and I said this in the comments in my video, he would cleanly have the high ground if none of that had happened, right? If it had just been, oh yeah, they said I did this, and then 2 years later the accident report comes out, and now he's talking, or when the investigation's done. I think it's a much better look than, because we talked about this when we watched it live. It just didn't sit right. It didn't sit right. The way the mannerisms, all that stuff. It just, whether it turned out he was right or not, it just wasn't. I think somebody advised him poorly. If he had anybody in his court going, hey, this is a good idea, because honestly, the news cycle would have just ignored it, because thankfully no one was killed. No one was killed. Nothing really happened after that. But I think that really tarnished the after effects.
Sorry, go ahead, Mace.
I would say I'm trying to put myself in that situation. If I was still in aviation as like my full-time job, right? Like flying for the airlines, flying warbird jets, doing all that stuff, and like being 100% certain that my decision saved the other person's life, and seeing the narrative turn the opposite way. It sucks that the reports just take so long, right? Like 2 years is a long time for you to just sit there and be like, my inner circle knows this, but I know the general news cycle passes very quickly. But I think there's something as well for your like reputation in the aviation world when you're in it. I don't know. It would be tough to bite your tongue. Not saying it was right or wrong. I can just see like, man, I would be pissed.
Mover, I may have missed it, but did it say anywhere in the MiG-23 that you can sequence the seats? Does it have like a solo mode after initiate?
Didn't talk about that. It did talk about, he had questions on if he had ejected both of them, at least per the front seaters report, right? He said that, he had questions on whether he ejected both of them. Then he asked the mechanic hey, how'd these seats work and stuff like that. There's a lot of that in that report. So it's unclear, especially when it first came out. They said, he didn't know if he had ejected it, which I think that's what they were talking about. He didn't know if he'd ejected both of them or if they both pulled the handle. But there's no visibility back there at all. Like you're just looking at gauges. I
guess where I'm going with that is anytime I gave a ride, if the other person had wings, I was always of the mentality of you have enough wherewithal to know, like, don't inject us inverted, like close to the ground kind of thing. So I would always go aft initiate for any winged pilot. And I would do like, aft self if it was a non-rated pilot. And I guess where I'm going with that is you kind of have to, if you're going to do aft initiate, you kind of have to accept the fact that you may get ejected, like not at the most opportune time. You know what I'm saying? Kind of going back to what my earlier comment of maybe I'm fixated on trying to save the airplane when it's not savable, because in my mind, it's like, dude, I'm just going to trust the fact that you see something impending coming that scares you enough to want to get out of this airplane, and I'd rather go with you than not and roll the dice. But I understand also, and we've talked about it, Mover, the whole coming out immediately and just talking about it while an investigation is going on is generally kind of frowned upon. And then also, like you said, Mace, it sucks. It takes 2 years, for anything official to come out. But man, I just keep coming back to, like, given a choice, I'd always rather pull the handle early, because like there's a whole list of people who aren't here because they were, they just missed the window, right? So I mean,
yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but Mace, I mean, in an air show, and the military doesn't, people always say, oh, you pulled at the last minute to avoid, like, we don't, right? That usually becomes a myth. When it's time to eject, you eject, and if you can avoid a populated area, you can. But when it comes to that level of liability from a civilian, I think I've owned airplanes before, and I think you get into both self-preservation and aircraft preservation and asset preservation, because now it's you that's, it's not Uncle Sam that's going to pick up that tab if you actually had been 15 feet to the right and hit the apartment building. I mean, now, is that an argument for riding it in, or hey, maybe we shouldn't put such high stakes on a toy? I mean, like, what's the gain here for doing it? I'm not suggesting get rid of warbirds. I'm just saying, when you've got hot seats, there's a lot more responsibility than just flying around having fun.
I think there's like a whole bigger discussion on civilian jet warbirds, cold seats, hot seats, decision-making, level of experience, level of training. Like, it was fairly surprising how low the number of hours that jet had flown from the first time it had this issue till like 2018 to 2023.
Yeah, it was like 10 hours. It was 10 or 14 hours, something like that.
Yeah, like, that's just, it's so different than what we're used to. It's just like, seems like a lot of red flags of just like, how much proficiency do you have in this jet, or like, how well is it maintained? And not just talking about this mishap in particular, but I think there's a lot with jet warbirds where it's a dangerous business.
10 hours. If that's true, I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable with that in a year, much less 5, I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Good grief. But even still, he had 45 hours total. I mean, that part is true. So 45 hours, even 45 hours in 5 years is not enough. No. That's 10 hours a year, 9 hours a year. Like,
I believe the owner has multiple jet warbirds. So I don't know if he's flying other ones, but even just for like maintenance, right? Like, our jets like to be flowing. When they sit, stuff starts to go wrong.
Yeah, they break.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sucks we lost a warbird. Obviously a friendship was destroyed, but I mean, on the upside, they're both alive to argue about it. But the only way to tell, man, I mean, if it was my plane, I'd be mad too, right? If I believed that I was recovering the airplane. But I mean, as an outsider, just on the sidelines watching, it's hard.
Well, Gonky, to your point, about if you're going to have a rated guy in the back or girl that has the capability of punching you out, you accept that risk.
Yeah.
I mean, then you have to communicate.
You do.
You have to be like a running audiobook narration, especially when the guy in the back doesn't have much essay except for gauge. Like, y'all have to be coordinating. It's like when we do airline stuff and, the pilot monitoring is calling out altitudes as you're doing your escape maneuver. Like, you have, and that's a pre-brief thing. Like, hey, if we lose an engine, I want you to do this. And this is how we're going to coordinate.
That was one of the things. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I know, but then it's like, I don't know how the sequencer works in the MiG-23, but once you set it and you're airborne, you can't change it, right? So if it's a situation where I'm like, no, I got it, I can land the plane, and my my P3 buddy in the back's like, dude, you don't have it, I'm out of here. Well, dude, I mean, if he's out, I'm out, right? There's no
right, but that's why Mace, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that of all the things in the statements, like, the one thing that really didn't sit well with me that kind of stuck out is there was wording from the PIC that made it sound like the backseater didn't have the autonomy to pull the handle. You know, like it was like, you are just a safety observer. You just shut up in color. And the only person in this aircraft that is MiG-23 qualified is me. And therefore I am the only person that can make the decision to pull the handle. Like there is no way if I was in the backseat of a Warbird and thought we were running out of airspeed and we're about to crash that I'm going to be like, bro in the front's got it. Like, you know what I mean? Like as a experienced pilot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would also point out though, for the statements, and I think we're losing track of this. Those statements were given to the FAA to plead their cases.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they went out. The only public statement came from the backseater. The front seater made a case to the NTSB, and the backseater made his case to the NTSB. And I don't think either of them thought, you know, wrongfully, right? I mean, you have to know that when you make statements like that, it's going to end up in court or it's going to end up whatever. But I don't think it was like, oh, hey, I'm going to make this public. You know, it may not even match what happened. All that stuff, especially the first part where he's like, well, you know, and then he showed up late for the brief and then he didn't do this. Like that to me felt like somebody, like, cause I'm a cop and I go to these calls and it's like the airing of the grievances. And then they'll start from 10 years ago. Like, well, okay. Back in 2008, he said, and I'm like, hold on, dude, why'd you call me today? Well, no, today. Well, he punched me. Okay, well, let's start there. I don't care what happened in 2008 and why this all started. Tell me what happened today. And that's what it read like. It read like we're building cases against each other.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
So, but that's because the NTSB did kind of a half-ass investigation, didn't get an engine guy, didn't answer any of these questions, and just kind of left it to the, But
yeah, it's weird that they, I guess not surprising that they don't have experts in these ejection seats or these specific jets or these specific engines, right? So it might be experienced investigators, but that's like very niche what they're looking at.
Yeah, they said the one guy that had any kind of experience with it is the mechanic, so they couldn't go to him.
Right. Kind of biased.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, good. Perfect.
That's it in the whole country?
I would like to believe that if there had been a the reason they kind of half-assed it was because there was no fatalities. Like if it had been like a serious, somebody died, they'd have taken it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they're both alive, both recovered.
Yes. Yes. And we're going to talk about backseater here in a minute. But first, back to the kids at home. Kevin says 1.4K live viewers. It's because of Mace, of course. We love to see it.
What do you normally have? 2.5?
1,200? No. 1 million. Alex Adventures, Aviation Adventures. Alec here held Dad up with the D44 blaster for money. God. Miss Mace, what advice would you have for me or kids my age in becoming a pilot for the military?
He's 10.
Oh, okay. I mean, you're way ahead of the game. I didn't decide I wanted to be a pilot until I was halfway through college. So, but do your research, talk to people with different backgrounds so you can make kind of an informed decision on what route you want to take. The Air Force is clearly better lifestyle than the Navy, so you don't need to do any more research on that. But yeah, you're at the age where you don't have to actually take any action yet. Just like explore all the knowledge.
Oh yeah. Get good grades.
Yes.
Out of trouble. No felonies.
Be physically fit. Have hobbies so you're multi-dimensional when you get there. Yeah.
Yes, well-rounded.
Don't just be a single target track. Wayne says, welcome back, Mace. I'm looking forward to seeing the Thunderbirds at the upcoming ADW Air Show, Gonky, Mover, and Luna. Mace, I mean, you're branded Thunderbirds for life. Do you ever just want to be the author that they want to go see?
Maybe eventually. Hopefully the New York Times best-selling author. That'll change things. That's the goal.
We're not allowed to talk about that yet. You're on an embargo.
No, I can say that. I've been saying it for months. Pleading people, please pre-order.
I don't want you to go to jail.
Don't wait.
You'd be one of many. John says, hello from Arlington, Texas. I'm sad to learn that the Spads have fully transitioned to Fat Amy's and are no longer flying the Viper.
Yep.
They had the smallmouth vipers though. Those kind of weren't that good.
Hey, were the intakes different between the smallmouth and big mouth? Is that why?
That's what that means.
Okay.
Yeah. Big mouth.
The guys
so
at Homestead just can't shut up. That's what it means.
No, dude, we were rainbow and we're up in the, we'd be at the tanker at 280 and I'd be like, oh, it's a SPAD jet. Oh, got to tap the burner. Got to tap the burner. Got to tap the burner.
It was noticeable for tanking.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Huh. Blue Rex says it's nice to hear a logical, objective discussion. Good to see Mace back again. Oh, what are you listening to? Oh, is it us? No, it can't be us. Irene, thanks, Irene. Austin says, if any of you had a choice to fly any bomber, what's your pick?
The B1.
Yeah,
it's got to be a B1.
Yeah, I don't want to fly for 38 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe. Exactly. I know, Strike Eagle. Yeah.
Your viewership just went back to 1,200.
Yeah, exactly.
You think there's that many Wizzos that watch us?
Oh
man.
Out of spite.
Irene says, waiting for the book, Mace. I'm on the list. Good to see you on the show again. See?
Oh, thanks.
Hey, speaking of bombers, let's get to that one real quick if I can figure out which one it is. Is it that one? Yes.
Oh,
dude. Best guess, first hack at it. All right. So we covered this not too long ago. I don't know why. I guess I wasn't expecting this to be a investigation report, but they did an investigation July 19th at 7:48 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Warbird 03, an Air Force B-52H, and those are large aircraft for those that don't know. Very big.
Very
huge.
Big. Very
huge.
smoky.
Yeah, smoke a lot too. They were doing a flyby at the North Dakota Fairgrounds involved in a loss of separation event approximately 2 miles south of Minot International Airport, MOT. Why not Minot? Skywest Flight 3788, an ERJ 170, arriving runway 31 at Minot from Minneapolis, St. Paul. Hey, look, it's your old stomping ground.
Hey, yeah.
Heyo. Subsequently, Warbird 3 was involved in another loss of separation event approximately 1 mile southwest of Minot with November 41349, a Piper PA-28. Warbird 3 was operating as a military flight. Skywest 3788. Well, okay, that's all useless information. But anyway, so the Minot Control Tower air traffic manager stated that at the time of the incident, traffic volume was normal with normal complexity for the time of day as VMC. They staffing. What do you say about staffing? There was one controller staffing the tower. Well, that seems bad, but I don't know what normal is. So, okay. So they checked the tapes, and at 1941, Rapcon, which is the sector controller, coordinated via the shout line, which is their direct comms with the local control, requesting an opposite direction arrival for Skywest. So they're already kind of changing things up because everybody else was using runway 8 for another involved aircraft. So they were going to do an opposite direction for Skywest and an approach to runway 8 for 717 Bravo Lima. It was approved. They coordinated via the shout line, requesting opposite arrival for 3-1 for 717 Bravo Lima. So I guess the winds favored that. Also about this time, the Minot controller cleared 349 for the option. Pilot options is a full stop, touch and go, or low approach to runway 8. Then provided instructions to flip the runway to 3-1. So 8, turn around, do your touch and go, and we're going to turn back the other direction. At 1943, Warbird 03 checked in with the Minot local controller 15 East to conduct the flyby. Simultaneously, the sector controller called the Minot controller on the shout line to coordinate Warbird 03 to conduct the flyby, then do a right turnout, proceed back to Minot. At 1 minute later, local controller asked Warbird 03 to say their position. Responded, 2,700 feet, 15 miles east, turning inbound in 2 minutes for a 270 heading to your south. The local controller instructed Warbird 03 to proceed as requested and not start their northbound turn until at least 2 miles west of the airport. Warbird 03 acknowledged. At 1947, they checked in with the local controller, Skywest did, on RNAV 3-1 approach, and the local controller instructed Skywest to report Phonad, which is a final approach fix 5 miles from the airport with a good readback. Also about this time, local controller instructed 349 to make a left turn, enter left downwind runway 31 with a good readback. At 1948, the local controller visually saw the big ass B-52. Also about this time, Skywest 3788 reported 1 mile from Phonad. The local controller called the sector controller on the shot line to request a spin, which is a 360-degree circle, to Skywest 3788 due to the big ass B-52 conducting the flyby that he saw. It was approved. At 1949, the local controller instructed Skywest to make a right 360 at Phonad and said traffic is a heavy B-52 a few miles to the southeast of the field going east to west. Skywest said, we see it because it's a big ass B-52, and said they didn't know if they wanted to do that right 360-degree turn. What? The local controller, I don't know if I want to do that. Local controller offered a left 360, and they just requested, you know what? We just like to break off the approach altogether. We don't want to do any of the stuff you're asking us to do. Local controller called the sector controller on the shot line to request Skywest to break off the approach. He's told the local controller to issue a 250 heading and an altitude of 4,200 feet with a good readback. Local controller then told Skywest to fly heading 250 and maintain an altitude of 3,700 feet with a good readback. Well, a little bit of a difference. Local controller instructed 349 to make a right 360 in the downwind with a good readback. So he was okay with the 360. At 1950, local controller called the sector controller to verify the assigned heading for Skywest. He said 220 heading now, which is different than the original 25, but still 4,200. Local controller inadvertently instructed Warbird to fly 220 and maintain 4,200, then told Warbird to disregard. There's like 10 of them in that airplane, so between them, they figured it out. It wasn't for us. The local controller asked Skywest if they copied. They said, stand by, 2,300 heading 340. Local controller responded with heading 220 and up to 4,200. Skywest requested if they could fly present heading and climb to 4,200 feet. Local controller coordinated on the shout line with the sector controller and requested present heading and 4,200 feet. Sector controller replied, all right, that's for the Warbird that broke out and not Skywest. Local controller responded, negative, it's for Skywest because Warbird did not break out. At 1951, Warbird 03 reported to the controller that they were in a right-hand turn back to MIB, and they'll contact MIB Air Traffic Control Tower. So that's the Minot Air Base. Local controller instructed them to contact MIB Tower. Local controller still in the shout line, again requested present heading at 4,200 feet. They approved the request. In 1951, he instructed Skywest to maintain 4,200 feet. Current heading was approved to contact the sector controller with a good readback. Local controller asked 349 to say their position. Responded they were in a left downwind for 31. Advised they were in sight and issued an option clearance for 31. Good readback. After the event, Skywest was vectored to runway 31, landed uneventfully. Here's what it looked like. Oh my. So there's Warbird 03 trucking along, just doing bomber things. And there's Skywest just doing whatever they want.
But
Perfect.
not a 360.
But not a 360
yes.
in either direction.
No.
Because now why would you? And that's what it looked like. They're investigating. The winds were it was a crosswind. 090.
It was
Actually 090 runway 8 would have been better. They were landing with a little bit of a tailwind there. 3-1. Benjamin Nutter. Anyway, panel, your thoughts.
Y'all don't take 360s when the controllers tell you? Like, is that normal?
Well,
so yes, B-52 coming, sure.
The backstory, Mace,
Yeah,
is
I feel
that
like I was like, okay.
this was a viral video where they landed, and the Skywest captain's like, wife and kids, sir, almost orphaned, have never even seen them. And he is like, has to give War and Peace in his brief to these passengers about why we had to bank it up to turn, and there was a big B-52, and you know things almost it was real bad. The loss of separation was about 1.5 miles at the closest point.
Yeah,
I mean, B-52 is big. Look closer.
that's true.
Yeah,
It's a 500-foot pass. No, it's a mile.
Yeah, dude, that thing was out there. But I mean, self-induced, Gonky. What do you think?
Yeah. So Mace, like Mover's saying, that the dissertation that the captain gave. I mean, hey, if he wants, he's well within his right to do that. And the people loved it. He got it. You know, everyone's clapping. Safety first, which, you know, I'm all for it. But this is the case of, I mean, the B-52 was doing what it was supposed to be doing. Air traffic control knew what was going on, offered some guidance. They denied. Like that was surprising me when I read that. They're like, "Yeah, do a 360," and they're like, "No." I'm like, "Wait a minute." But you know, in the long dissertation, he's like, "We had to do some maneuvers and blah blah blah." So,
yeah, if only we had listened.
It's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, fam, I'm good. I'm good. What's a 360? They don't teach that at.
Yeah, it's just, I just think they saw B-52 out there and it kind of startled them a little bit. And, you know, they kind of, you know, the outcome was fine. They just kind of, you know, I don't know, man. They just kind of waffled through the scenario. It's, you know, the only question in my mind, I guess, is VHF, UHF. I wonder if they could hear, you know, were they doing split freak ops? I don't know.
Probably not. Probably were UHF and
yeah, and that's always been my beef. You know, when I'm operating around where I think there's going to be others, especially like flying to different fields outside of my home base. If there was VHF, I'd usually use that just to try to build what SA, right? An SA bubble for everybody. But I could see, you know, we're hearing both sides of the comm, you know, maybe they're hearing half, but at the end of the day, it's like, no, man, everybody kind of knew what was going on. So
except you.
Yeah, right. So that's the perception that I have. Listen, I'm no captain. That's for sure. I'm along for the ride, but yeah, that's the perception of it.
Yeah. It's kind of unfair to ask a Thunderbird solo about close passes.
Yeah, I could never go back to the CAF because I would have got TR violations every day.
Like 1.5 miles. Mace is like, what? They even at the same air show? Like what?
Right.
That's not.
Yeah. What are you doing over there?
This is one more lesson in the shut up. Like there's no reason. There's just like. It wouldn't be news if you just shut up. We wouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah, I think in full context, though, you know, the whole regional jet getting hit, you know, the helicopter collision, like, right, the whole microscope on airplane-ish, and especially regional jets, right? The helicopter thing, the flip over in Canada, so I could see a little bit of I better say something to explain the weird maneuvers that I did here. Scared. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't really even say how weird the maneuver is. That was the other part. Is it didn't like the track doesn't look like it was all that Hayaka.
Yeah, I mean, the 360 would have covered all the headings. So I don't know what kind of maneuver.
This turn looks like. I mean, are we Austin Powers? Like, oh no, we're going 10 degrees to the right. Like what? Yeah. What turn did he click off the autopilot and was like,
heaven forbid. It's
like what?
It's cowboy country, dude, when you turn the autopilot off.
The closest pass was actually 4139 that didn't spin soon enough and ended up 0.33 miles.
You mean the Piper?
Yeah. He got a full windscreen full of Warbird 03.
Yeah, PA-28 is just a little 4-passenger, 180 horse.
Yeah, I mean the Warbird, that guy got an air show.
Yeah,
but I mean, so he called it in sight here, and saw it at 7 miles, and just saw this. If he had a spun, there never would have been. Like Mace, this 1.4 is because he did the jink.
Mace, have you ever? I've never, or a mover too. Have you guys flown form with a B-52? I've never flown form with a B-52. No. Yeah.
I mean, I flew a form with an F-15. That's pretty close. Big ass airplanes.
Giant, yeah.
I mean, they're just huge.
What are all the people in the back doing?
Yeah. What is that guy? Tell them the jink. Anyway, all right, back to the kids at home. M66 says, Mace, F-35 or F-22, which would you rather fly for combat or for funsies?
Oh, the F-22
Mm-hmm.
thing cleans house.
Oh yeah.
Yep. A. Ron says, there were times flying low level, I was more worried about saving the plane in the moment. And I was losing my life, so I wouldn't lose my job. It affects the thought process. Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Scepter02 says, I heard I had to pay taxes. The mines are cold.
Okay.
Holly Movie Star says, Alec, eat your vegetables, brush your teeth, always have a challenge going on hand so you don't have to be the one buying a round of milks. That's funny.
That is good advice.
Hypex says, do you all have a favorite general aviation airplane to fly? Mace, you've been doing some of that.
Not a lot. I mean, I want a Cirrus because air conditioning and side stick and glass cockpit and parachute.
Speak your
But I mean,
language.
it's not the coolest thing ever. It's just for my needs. It's a good bit.
What have you been flying?
No, not a lot. Just with random friends.
Like Pipers and stuff.
Cirrus, L-39,
Oh,
S211.
wow.
So what are we buying when we get our bestseller list?
Oh, a Cirrus, an SR-22T. Unless I sell a shit ton of books, then I'm getting a Vision Jet.
That's what I was going to say, a Vision Jet.
Please
awesome.
pre-order.
Yeah.
Pre and post order.
Right.
Mover, what's your favorite?
GA?
Yeah. That you've flown.
Oh, that I've flown?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, after you fly fighters, does it really?
Yeah, none are that exciting.
I mean, I love flying helicopters.
Yeah.
Yes. Very fun.
You know, I mean, while I was flying fighters, occasionally I go fly GA, and I was always just surprised at how much actual skill it took to fly like GA airplanes.
Very
You
different.
know? Correct. Yeah. Fighter jet's easy. It's like I got lots of power, lots of drag. You know, I can flight control system, but like I was always surprised how difficult like having to do everything is. I haven't flown it in like 20 years, but like like the 80 horsepower Diamond Katana, which is what I got my private in.
Ooh,
That was such a cool little plane. That's
the
probably
DA-20.
yeah. Have you ever flown it, Mace?
IFS used it, so it was my first solo.
Yeah, same. And it's
Oh.
just it had a little bubble canopy,
Yeah.
stick, and it was
stuck to your instructor's Velcro
Yes.
because there's not enough space.
yeah, it was just a cool little plane. Had a little Garmin in it, and yeah, you could spin it. It was fun.
Diamond has some nice aircraft, bigger ones as well.
They do, yeah.
Tom says, Grandpa Buff is too old to care. I've been flying since before you were a twinkle in your engineer's eye. Get out of my way.
Fact.
Tigaro says, I was checking out Viper on Google. It says first official flight 22/1974. There was an unplanned flight on 1/20/1974 with someone on their own Maverick Darkstar Arc back then. I think it was just a fast taxi. Turned into we're flying and we need to fly now.
Yeah.
Flight control system.
Wasn't it like a high-speed taxi and it started PIOing and he's like, dude, better just take it flying. He just poured the coals and yeah.
Yep. And thrust we trust. Alex says, what World War II bomber would you fly? For me, it'd be the Dauntless. Want to join and fly for the Navy, but I'll take the Air Force. Long story. You lost so many points there, Alec. You're doing so well. Except with Gonky, you just gained 1 million points.
Smartest kid ever, but no.
B-17?
That's what I was going to say too.
Yeah. I mean, the Dauntless is kind of like, you know, the old Strike Eagle, but if we're talking real bombers, I'd do B-17.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
Well, didn't B-25 land on the boat?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's right.
So
No, listen, dude, I love naval aviation, but yeah.
Vinay Kumar says, in the Blue Angels film, seeing pilots in the centrifuge coming to after G-Lock was interesting. Is pod time schedule mandated through your routes or active flying career? What's your experience like? Well, Gonky, if you get hired, you're going to have to go back, but it's usually just the one time as long as you stay flying your entire career.
Yep. No one wants to go back.
No,
Oh,
it's like SEER school.
Terrible.
One and done.
I went
I'd
from
rather go
Steer
back
to the
to
Fuge.
Steer.
Would you rather go back?
They flew me from Fairchild to El Paso direct, and then I drove to Holloman to do the 9G Fuge.
You had just built up all that resilience. Good to go.
And
pod
lost
that-
20 pounds. I was awesome. It was
Well,
great.
The centrifuge that they put you guys in for the F-16, did it have the reclined seat?
I think so.
I'm just curious. I mean, was it?
I think
I
so.
don't
I think they
remember.
swapped the seat out for the
Do they?
airframe you're
I
qualifying
don't
for, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I remember it had a side stick, but I don't
Did it?
remember.
It
Yeah.
sucked.
Dude, the Navy one's like generic. Like, I mean, it could be like a T-34 cockpit kind of thing, but yeah.
Mm.
Even the Navy one, the 7.5G profile, it was painful.
Pneumatic Elephant says, you know that they say one door closes when another door opens. Other than that, it's a pretty good Cessna 172.
Dad
Oh,
jokes.
Tyson.
Dad airplane jokes.
Tyson. Yeah.
Renee says, Mace, you deserve one with a bathroom.
I agree.
All right. Another preliminary report came out this week. And unfortunately, it's the same person involved as the previous one we just covered, except this one is not that one.
He is now the pilot, right?
Yes.
PIC.
He was the PIC in this one, Granite Falls, Minnesota. He was going to Oshkosh, July 21st, 1728. And an L-39, November 339, Lima. Substantially damaged during an accident in Granite Falls, Minnesota. This is, I mean, I don't know if you've read it, but it's very tough to read because it's like everything went wrong here. Sustained serious injuries after ejecting. The pilot receiving instruction did not eject and was fatally injured. He was doing a FAM flight. The guy in the back was basically trying to decide if he wanted to buy one. So they were, the backseat guy had a type rating and an SF-50, but he had no previous experience in the L-39 before the day. So this was his first flight in an L-39. They did flight instruction of an hour, ground instruction to the pilot receiving instruction during which to discuss the limitations of the seat, VS1 BRI. Ground instruction was conducted, pilot receiving instructions residence, not in the airplane. On July 21st, he provided 2 to 3 hours of additional ground instruction to the pilot receiving instruction during which they discussed the positive and negative aspects of owning an experimental warbird aircraft. Additionally, they discussed flight planning, operations, oxygen, weather, etc. He intended to provide flight instruction during the flight 3 legs to reposition the aircraft from Alpine, Wyoming to Oshkosh, where they would attend the EAA event. He was PIC sitting in the front seat, and the other guy was in the back seat since he was unfamiliar. They did the first 2 legs uneventfully. The third leg from ATY to Oshkosh noted that he followed an IFR flight plan to Fond du Lac County Airport in Wisconsin, but intended to cancel and proceed under VFR to Oshkosh via the published warbird arrival procedures. EAA AirVenture. They were on initial climb out, runway 12, eastbound 270, 103%, 280 knots true, climb through flight level 200. They started getting a smell, and they were basically putting oxygen masks on, followed by smoke intrusion in the cockpit. So not a good scenario. Audible metal to metal grinding noise. He depressurized the plane, which resolved the odor issue. Smoke dissipated, began decelerating, best glide. Located the nearest airport using the airplane's Garmin. He tried to restart because the engine went out. And after 3 attempts, he decided it was going to be a forced landing. And he pointed towards an airport where a forced landing could be complete. He entered a descent from 21,000 and told the air traffic controller that he had an engine failure, acknowledged, descended to 10,000 feet. And then he gave him Granite Falls, 1 o'clock, 20 miles. And then MVE, 10 o'clock, 15 miles. He was told to change frequencies. He established controls, but different controllers reiterated the airplane had an engine failure, heading direct to GDB for an emergency landing. After brief discussion, told the controller that he intended to fly a visual approach to GDB. He said it was at 12 o'clock, 10 miles, asked the instructor to report when the airport was in sight. Cleared to direct to GDB to descend to 3,000 feet. Airplane descended below 12.5 and it continued southeast toward GDB. Flight instructor told the controller they were going to actually go to Southwest Minnesota Regional Airport, Marshall, Minnesota, cleared the flight to MML and descend to 3,000. However, told the controller that they couldn't reach MML and would land at GDB instead. Controller then cleared the flight direct GDB. In interview, the flight instructor stated that it was because the ground speed decreased and he decided to go back the other way. Based on the track data, it continued a right descending turn over GDB as depicted, crossed GDB at 3,000, and the weather was undercast, 1,200 feet AGL, broken ceiling at the time of the accident. Descended below 1,200, right roll increase and a turn toward runway 15. When they interviewed the accident, he stated that he saw the yellow chevrons depicting the overrun for the runway and turned the airplane to head directly at the end of the pavement. So I guess he's using just the, what he saw of the runway. He extended the landing gear during the right descending turn toward the runway. However, he determined that the airplane would not reach it and told the pilot receiving instruction to prepare to eject. He said, okay. The flight instructor stated he brought the airplane into a wings level attitude, reduced the descent rate before he told the pilot receiving instruction to eject. When he did not hear the rear seat eject, the flight instructor again told the pilot receiving instruction using his first name this time to eject. Flight instructor did not hear the rear seat eject from the airplane. According to the instructor, airplane was nearing the bottom of the envelope and heading toward a power line. He said eject for a third time before he activated his own seat. Front seat was ejected from the airplane, and the instructor descended under an open canopy. Non-life-threatening serious injuries. That's what it looked like, which is based on the wreckage. The airplane's vertical stabilizer, 821 feet short of the runway overrun. God. They found some strong jet A fuel, residual fuel, heavy damage. They found the rear occupant still in the seat and unused firing mechanism components. And then they had to call in the bomb squad from the 148th at Duluth. And then they looked at the engine, and they're going to obviously take a look at what happened and what caused that. So, Gonky, Mace.
So maybe I missed it, but did the aft seat not fire, or did he not attempt to eject?
We don't know.
Nobody knows. Oh man, that's horrible. Well, yeah, I mean this one's tough, man. I mean, you lose an engine in a single engine airplane like that. And wasn't weather also an issue? Like
1,200 broken, undercast.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I'm digging back in my memory, but in T-45s you practice engine out stuff, but you could see the runway, right? When it's with that kind of weather, I mean, really your best bet is to eject. And I just I'm scratching my head wondering why the back seat didn't go, because that's going to weigh on his mind. It weigh on my mind. It weighs on my mind now. Like, gosh, man, why didn't he just pull the handle? So I don't know. Mace, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we would occasionally do an IMC SFO or FO in the sim just to see, like with our avionics, if you could do it. And it was really challenging in a sim when your adrenaline's not going. You're just like, oh, this isn't part of your check ride profile because this is a shitty situation. Let's just see if you can do it. And we had like rules of thumb, you lose this much when you turn and all this, that kind of stuff. And it was still very difficult to break out and actually either not make the runway or you'd be too fast. Like It was really tough to break out and be on speed. I think the tricky path that they found themselves on is that they could see the runway for a little bit there with the weather. So the weather makes it super hard to get on the correct profile to make it ideal. But then when you see the overrun and you're like, these numbers check, then you keep trundling along and the engine was seized. Like they tried to spin it in the investigation and it didn't turn. So you got that extra drag with that. Then you drop the gear and all of a sudden the end of the runway starts to get higher in the windscreen. And you're like, shit, I'm not going to make it. And I mean, luckily they were in the ejection envelope, but why didn't the backseater go?
Yeah.
And the the difference, we did this in the T6, but in the F-16, we had a HUD.
Yes.
And,
HUD out.
17 degrees nose low, you drop the land. Like you had all kind of HUD gouge that helped you with a flight path marker and everything. When you're talking an L-39, when you've got Garmin avionics and who knows, or if whatever it had, it's not, and I would go back to proficiency like we talked about with the last one. In the F-16, you did an SFO almost every time. I mean, when you had the gas, you'd come back, you'd beat up the pattern, you'd go straight in, high key or whatever. I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine just as a baseline, because gas is expensive and it's not their jets, and it's people like the amount of practice you get as a baseline in Dave VMC is not what you get in the military. And then to add weather to that makes it holy crap. Like I can't imagine, like this is it's an unwinnable situation.
Yep.
As soon as you added weather to it, it became an unwinnable situation. Like you're almost better off just going, you know what, we're going to do a controlled ejection at 2,000 feet. Because it's that crappy, like you talked about, Mace, it's that crappy of a scenario. The fact that he almost made it, I mean, that's impressive to me. But then, I mean, would the backseater have survived? I mean, what happened there? Will we ever know? I don't know. Like, how do you even figure that out?
Yeah. Plus, man, he's cross country, right? I mean, you're just cruising along, and then all of a sudden, I mean, you're trying to get help from ATC, and like you're right. I mean, it's just a very, very challenging situation.
I wonder if, and they don't talk about it in this, but I wonder if ATC had essay of that. Like, right, was everywhere undercast, or could ATC have come back and go, okay, here's the weather here, because they'll do that. I know they'll do that. They'll help you out and become almost a book reader, going, hey, VFR sky clear at this place, it's undercast, broken. They'll give you the weather reports at some places. I wonder if that was ever a consideration in that, because it doesn't say they did that.
No.
I'm wondering if any place would have been a suitable alternate.
Sounds like they really only had those two options. I mean, they're in rural Minnesota, like Granite Falls, right? Like that's a tiny town.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there were a lot of options. And maybe the better runway, they turned into a headwind, I think, and we're like, nope, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, that's the big question in my mind. That whole thing is saying, what happened?
Of course,
with the backseater.
Yeah, it's terrible. All right. From the kids at home, we got Renee says, Mace, you deserve. Did that one. Sirkson says, which would be more fun, to be an F-18 Wizzo or a fat Amy demo pilot who's trying to call customer service? Fat Amy demo pilot.
Yeah, I was like, this one's easy.
Fat Amy demo pilot who's trying to call customer service.
Yeah. I wonder what music Lockheed plays you.
Axe Afterburner. I'm really late to this one. Glad to see Mover, Gonky, and Mace all together for this episode.
Hey, Max. Thanks, man.
Hey, Mace, good to see you again. Curious, how much do the Thunderbirds remove as far as parts equipment from the jet to do their show?
The big thing is we take out the gun, because that's where the smoke oil goes, as far as like big pieces, but all the like tactical stuff that we don't have a RWR, like the warning that tells you, if someone else is locking you up, we don't have that. Really, the gun is for sure the biggest thing.
I don't need an RWR because I'm never defensive.
Yeah. Been waiting to use that one for 20 years.
Only slightly less offensive. Rhythmic Water Drinker says, was stationed at Minot, flew my first solo at Kmart. Hard to not see the buffs flying about with the cold trails. Only the best come north, but the smart ones leave.
Yeah.
Well, Gonky, what do you want to do? It's
dude, we're at 2 hours already, huh?
I know. So what do you want to do? Duke Cunningham passed away, unfortunately.
Yeah, he does, man. So he was the Navy's ace in Vietnam. Him and his Rio Willie Irish Driscoll. They became an ace in a day. They shot down three MiGs in one day, and then on their way home from shooting down 3 MiGs, they got taken out by an SA-2. Yeah, there they are. So I know, I mean, we all have childhood heroes, and I tell you, Mace, the one thing that I enjoyed most about coming from the Navy to the Air Force was like learning about like badass Air Force, like Robin Olds, right? Guy Ritchie, like all the Air Force aces. Because when I was a Navy guy, I really didn't care, right? I was a big Duke Cunningham fan, and then you know, when I was a kid and growing up in Saudi Arabia, when I was like 10 years old, every day, like the TV we got to watch was always like pre-selected, whatever, but they had a documentary about him. And I remember being 10 watching that. And that was probably my earliest memory of, other than like Top Gun, like, oh, okay. Like I, you know, I think I really do want to try to be a Navy fighter pilot, and then bought all the books and stuff. I could totally like at 10 years old, I think I would probably, if you put me in an F4, I could probably do the roller, because like they had it all drawn out, like his engagement with Colonel Toon, which was the Vietnamese ace that he beat.
There you go, Alec. That's what you should be able to do right now.
Yeah. Well, no, Alec. It's funny, Alec. I watched your video, and I'm like, gosh, dude, just like me, like, because I read all that stuff. But yeah, so he's gone. He passed away. I think he's 83 years old. So it's sad, but yeah, man.
Hey, Mace, Miss Panther would like to know, any chance for a book signing? Weren't you doing it at like the Shopette or the Exchange or something, the grocery store?
11 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday, the September 18th, I am doing a book signing at the BX on Nellis.
See, Gonky, we would have to do it at the commissary next to the sandwiches.
And bag groceries for tips.
Pretty much.
Yeah. They give you your money. You're like, I want a book. Oh, you got to bag your groceries too. Okay.
We just put the book in with the groceries. It's like the coupons.
Yeah,
you know, say, hey, if you get a chance, read this.
Tell your friends.
Friends. Yeah.
Awesome. Tell you what, Mace.
Yep.
I told you I was going to put you on the spot.
Never.
Here's the mental health minute. Buy Mace's book. Your mental health will improve. And I'm only half kidding on this. No, I'm 100% not kidding about buying the book, but I'm only half kidding about the mental health minute being your book, because it's anxiety. Dealing with situational anxiety affects everybody.
Yep.
And I think whether you're a fighter pilot or, you know, truck driver, construction worker, doctor, lawyer, whatever, we all have our stories. And we all have our situations, and we all sometimes lose our confidence, and we all sometimes need to be reminded that we are badass and that we can do it. And I think a book is a good idea.
Yeah. And I wanted to, like, so much of the stuff I talk about is rooted in that, right? Like, it has cool stories, but a lot of it is about like the mental turmoil that those traumatic near misses cause, right? Like fear and like in the moment fear, but the aftermath of like losing your confidence because you just made a mistake, or like the fear of now I got to go out and do this again. And last time something bad almost happened. I think for like a takeaway that this audience will appreciate, I talk about like the most elementary training we get in the Air Force as far as handling emergencies, right? Maintain aircraft control, analyze the situation, take proper action, land as soon as possible. And a big part of that is the pause. Like you all have heard like wind the clock, right? Like wind the clock in the jet if something goes wrong, which we have this old clock in the F-16 that no one uses, but it was basically saying like, hey, turbo, like maintain aircraft control, don't fly into the ground, maybe start a climb depending what's going on. And now let's take a second to actually like look at all the information. 99% of the time, the jet's not going to fall out of the sky in the next 5 seconds. So
unless it's Fat Amy in ground mode.
Yes. Abnormal situation. But taking that, and I talk about like my bird strike with a vulture and like that process, but then how much power there is in the pause between the stimulus that happens and your response to it, right? Like pausing and choosing to respond in a productive, logical way rather than letting
pushing
yourself regress into like fight or flight, right? You get into that panic mode. So it applies to many things besides emergencies in a jet.
Hell yeah. Can't wait to read it.
It's not written for you, mover.
Well, then damn it. That's cool.
Sorry, mover. This cannot help you.
Like, I'm never in the club. Like, oh, you can't read this book. It's a damn free country. If I want to read the damn book, I'm going to read the damn book.
I'm going to listen.
Just remember,
read it.
maintain
I'll
air
read it
traffic
to go.
control first.
Yeah. Gonky?
Yeah, it's good. No, I mean, dude, you should learn. I mean, Mace, it's great that you've put all these stories to text, right? So I mean, it's just an opportunity to learn from someone else's experience. We're all not going to live long enough to do everything, right? So yeah, I'm going to buy it and listen to it, even if it's not for me. I'll tell Mover.
Not from Mover. He shouldn't say anything about you.
We're kind of stepbrothers, dude. So it might not be for me too. So
I got rejected on my own podcast. I can't even.
I literally put that in the dedication. It was like, if you're a mover,
Not for mover.
Don't read
here.
Please do not read.
Don't read this, dude. Oh, that's funny.
The He-Man Gonky Haters Club. Oh, okay. Doug, you got anything? How you feeling, bud?
Actually, I have a He-Man Women Haters T-shirt that my wife brought me. Actually,
Classic.
so I get that reference. No, I'm just glad to see people who, like high flyers, whatever you want to say it, high profile, high achievers like Mace and the other two guys on the show, taking the time out to pay attention to mental health. It's great.
Oh, I need to because we have bad mental health. At least I do. Gonky's a golden retriever. He's always happy.
What's your take on reading book reviews? I know your take on reading comments. What's your take on reading book reviews?
Somehow I have quit reading them all. I don't read any book reviews at all. I have no idea what any of my books are doing, or I just like it when people email me and then tell me they like the book.
Yeah.
But I don't go to Amazon. I don't look at the books. I don't look it's fire and forget. And I don't know how I do that with that, but nothing else. But
I don't have that self-control.
Yeah. Have you ever, so Goodreads.
Yep.
When I wrote my second book, I got my first 2 or 1 star review. And Goodreads, no kidding, when you go to reply, it comes up with this page and it says, hold on now, take a deep breath. Bad reviews are part of it. Before you think about, it gives you this whole spiel about don't respond to book reviews. And if only I knew how to do that with YouTube comments.
Dude, just apply. It's easy.
It's not at all.
Apply it, bro.
But I'm writing fiction. I have had people mad because the fiction wasn't it's too close to real, but it's not real life. And they're like, well, you're like, it's fiction. That's how the whole point of the fiction. But for you writing, I could see how it's personal.
Oh, it's super personal. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Mace, you could write the greatest book in the world, and people. Just some people just kind of and you just got to tune the noise out. It's remember in the bombing competitions in the Air Force, they do this. You throw away your best bomb, your worst bomb.
Yep.
Everything in the middle. Same thing, right? It's you're going to have your stalkers, right? that are going to give you, 10 out of 5 stars. And then you're going to have your absolute haters who probably didn't even read the book.
That's what I'm counting on is the true trolls who I deal with in my social media comments are probably not reading the book. And if they are, I hope that they buy before September 13th, which is the cutoff for the New York Times bestseller opening week.
Yeah.
But you know what? You laugh.
Talking about you.
They're still buying the book.
You have to, that's how you have to look at it. I'm you're going to have haters, no matter what you do. So
for sure,
especially if you put yourself out there in something that you've created. So
yep, totally. Someone told me for keynotes, they're 5% of the audience absolutely loves you, 5% of the audience hates you, and you're not responsible for either one.
Oh
yeah. I got to the point where I only care what Doug thinks about my book somehow. So I send him a chapter, and if he doesn't respond, then I'm like, oh, crap. Take it personally.
I need to figure out some way to turn that into extortion.
Just send him the thumb emojis, man. Easy, right?
Send him the dollar sign.
No context.
Send the no dollar sign.
Crazy Pete says, I start skydive training Wednesday. Wish me luck.
Good luck, man.
Good luck. Good luck. Spartan says also last World War II ace passed away. Did we talk about that last week?
We did
Yeah,
last
covered
week.
that on the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just making sure. John says anxiety does not empty tomorrow of its sorrows, but only empties today of its strength. Charles Spurgeon, Mike Tyson. Alex says, Mover, you get a review from me soon. Oh, cool. Yeah, I sent Alec a book.
Nice.
Go easy on him, Alec.
He sent me a book. I signed the book. It was nice of him.
I love it.
Lisa says, thank you all so much for giving us your time and expertise. Mace, you are so inspiring. How long does it take for initial training in the Thunderbirds and Blue Angels? Wasn't Gonky in the Blue Angels?
No. I was in the Blue Diamonds, similar but not
He just
really.
wore tight flight suits. It's different.
Such a tight place. Well, everyone's already an experienced fighter pilot when they get hired, but they start flying like air show maneuvers with the squadron in November, and then by mid to late March, you're doing your first show. So it's a quick turnaround. You're not that good at first, but by the end of the show season, you're much better.
Yeah, there's
We
the documentary.
Yeah.
It tells you all that. In fact, the entire documentary is just about the training.
Pretty much.
It's literally just the whole training and then a bad flyby.
We could have a follow-up, a sequel.
Dude, don't ruin it. I mean, wait, you guys are actually never mind.
Yeah, we are gonna. Well, we're
Yeah,
going
so I was gonna say, wait, no.
I don't know
disregard
if I'm looking forward to seeing if we can.
that. Yeah.
There, somebody told me. Have you seen the Hallmark movie about the Thunderbird solo?
Yes. Yes.
Is it about you?
No, I hope not. No, it's cheesy. I can't Hallmark movie it up.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna have to add it to my list of stuff. to watch. I'll see here.
Definitely, you're the target audience for that one.
I figured it.
Mace, what's for dinner?
Oh, they ordered Zupas.
Did they order Zupas?
They did.
Well,
It's probably already eaten.
thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Appreciate
Thanks for
you.
taking the time, Mace. I know
No,
your
for
time is
sure.
valuable.
If you become a bestseller, it's
Don't forget us.
100% our doing, and you're welcome. If you don't, then we're sorry. It's
We're
Gonky's
sorry.
fault.
It's not our
Yes.
fault. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not our fault. So
No, thanks for
Um,
letting me share the book. And I think you put, as far as what you put in the caption, the comment, whatever, it's for the signed copies, which I know people always want. That's the one I sent you, right? Right? The link for the writer's block for signed copies.
I just copy and pasted. So whatever. you
Yes.
told
Okay,
me to
that's
do.
what I sent you. That is only until September 8th because I'm physically, it's a bookstore here in Vegas. I'm going to go there and sign them all and they're going to ship them out. So
Can you
you want
sign
to sign-
Gonky's audiobook?
sure. Yes. If send me your phone, I'll sign it and send it back.
I'll send you my
his
iPhone
Nokia.
3.
His Nokia. He's gonna send his Nokia. Dude, that thing's indestructible. You won't even have to wrap it or anything. He just sends it to you with
Put the label
postage.
on it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for
Yeah,
joining
that's
us.
great.
Thank you, Mace. We'll see you next week. And Mace, good luck. We'll see you
Thank
next time
you.
you're on here. Actually, I'll see you in a couple days. So
Yeah.
don't get too sick of me. All right. See ya.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Bye,
night.
folks.